Hello, this is your plug, back here with another video. I know you were expecting What If Deku Had a Phoenix Quirk Part 3, but sorry, I kind of wanted to start a new What If. This is like my second day trying to record this. Every time I either got interrupted, messed up, or it went back to my lock screen and it just stopped recording the video. Now, I am so sorry if I'm in a down mood or I just do not post for a couple days because of the trauma I'm going through trying to post this. Anyway, so this is gonna be What If Deku Had Cursed Speech. Now, Cursed Speech is a power from Jujutsu Kaisen wielded by Inumaki. His power is basically he can say any command and it will come true, but the command cannot be like, it cannot be like, give me gold, lol, and then he'll get gold. It has to be something like stop, run, or blast away. Anyway, but so in this, What If starts off in a hospital. Now, in this hospital, baby Deku is born. Now, this baby Deku has white hair, green eyes, and a birthmark on his mouth leading into his tongue. Now, the doctors automatically assumed this birthmark was part of his quirk because of how symmetrical and neat it was. Now, Deku's personality was a mix of Inumaki's and Deku's. If you do not know what Inumaki's personality is, it is basically quiet, cool-headed, funny, and yeah, that's basically it. Also, Inumaki has to talk with like meat bun, or not meat bun, rice bun flavors or toppings. So this Deku, he does not have to talk like that because of the quirk. This time he can actually talk normally, even though he has the power. Anyway, yeah, but Deku's life was pretty much the same, except he was a lot more popular because all the kids thought his birthmark / part of his quirk and his hair color and his skin tone and his eye color was just really cool. Now, Deku was kind of a top dog. I mean, it's not like he was the only one who was popular, but he was like one of the most popular kids. And Bakugo was pretty popular, but not many people liked him at the time because of how egotistic he was without even having any power yet. But then that all changed one day where Bakugo actually got power and he unlocked his quirk. When Bakugo unlocked his quirk, all hell broke loose. Man, he was dissing people, he was bagging them up, he was just beating up everybody, including Deku, including every other popular kid. And then he made everybody that was on Deku's side switch up, including everybody else in the class. And Deku did not want to join Bakugo, so it was basically him, a few other kids who did not like Bakugo, versus like the entire class. And the teachers did like this society. My Hero Society is messed up. It does not matter if you're the most asshole. Okay, sorry, I cannot say that. It does not matter if you're the most jerkiest of jerks in the world. As long as you have a strong quirk, doesn't matter. So the teachers didn't do anything about him bullying everybody. They just were like, okay, yep, I don't really care. Anyway, but one day Deku at preschool, he was just chilling. It was like a week after Bakugo got his quirk. Him and his goonies were beating up this little kid who used to be one of Deku's friends. Now Deku, with his hero instincts, hopped in the middle and was like, "Hey, you guys, stop bullying him." And of course he was nervous because he knew he was gonna get the like living daylights beat out of him. But it does not matter. Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not stopping this. I do not really. Okay, guys, I'm so sorry about that. Like, I'm terribly sorry about that, but I'm not stopping this recording after the many times I've tried to record this. Anyway, but then he was like, please stop. And then they're like, no, we won't. And then they were attacking him. Well, as they were attacking him, the marks on the side of his face started glowing, and he said, stop. Bakugo and his goonies stopped mid-air, and then not Bakugo. Deku was like, "What happened?" "Oh wait, it's my quirk." And then Deku like ran off to tell the teacher that he unlocked his quirk, And then the teacher's like, okay, let's get your parents. And then Inko Midoriya came, or Miss Midoriya came, picked up Deku, brought him to the hospital or the doctor or whatever, and then he got his quirk assessed, and it was called cursed speech. Now, cursed speech is what I explained earlier about how it is basically whatever you say will come to true, but it cannot be anything like I wish for gold or I wish for money and will appear in midair. It has to be something like stop, run, or blast away or whatever. Now the weaknesses to the quirk are if he says too many commands out like in a certain period of time, he will spit out blood, and also all the repercussions for this are basically him spitting out blood, not being able to talk or use his quirk for a while. And if there are other repercussions besides that, I will say them. And then one of the weaknesses are saying too many things at once will make the repercussion saying something that's too powerful, such as die, seizure, disappear, or any of those kinds, will also result in that happening. And the reason saying something too big or saying something too powerful or any of the sort would resort in such thing is because he has slots on how many cursed speeches he can use. What I mean by that is he has 3 slots when he's in preschool, which means he can say run, stop, or blast away 3 times before he spits out blood. Or not spits out blood, but if he uses it more than 3 times at this point in time, he'll spit out blood. And not be able to use his quirk and talk. And that's why if he says something too big, it'll take up more than 1 slot. So if he says like die, that might take up like a lot of slots because it's an auto death. Or if he says seizure, it's an auto seizure, so that will also take up a lot of things, which will overdo the 3 slots that he has to use it because of how many slots that takes up just by saying that one word. Anyway, but that's the 2 weaknesses that he has. And actually one more weakness is if you can't hear him, then the quirk won't take effect. Meaning, like, if your ears are covered or something, then the quirk won't take effect because you can't hear it. Some things that I tweaked to it is he can speak normally, so he doesn't have to speak using that weird language that Inumaki did. Instead of the marks on the side of his face saying normal, they changed color into a brighter blue. After that, he went to class and showed off his quirk, and when he explained it, he basically said what I said earlier. Now, Bakugo was not having this. He was in the corner, pouty face and all. And then he was like, Deku, fight me. And then he was like, not right now, Baku. And he's like, I don't care. So then they went outside to fight. And when they were fighting, Deku was still nervous because he just got his quirk, didn't know how to use it. And then Bakugo was so mad, so he just launched at Deku with the first attack. And then Deku dodged, and then said, stop, which made him stop in place. And then there's a time limit on how long it lasts, which right now it's not that long, so Bakugo breaks out after a while and then starts launching more attacks at him. He lands like 1 attack on him, which sends a Deku flying back. But then when he's about to go for another, Deku says, what was I gonna say? Yeah, and then Deku says, fly, or not fly back, what does he say? He says, launch away, go away. I'm gonna call it launch away because I forget what the guy said. How come I can't remember it anymore? Okay, yeah, he said like launch away or something, or fly away. And then Deku's like, launch away. And then Bakugo launches across. You know in shows where the guy gets like hit into the ground and he just like slides across the ground making like an indent in the dirt? It was kind of like that, but at a lower degree. And then the teachers stop it. They get sent home. And since their rivalry, they made a rivalry after that. And from the rivalry became mutual respect, but they still aren't like buddy and will hang out randomly. But in middle school, the teacher came in and was like, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today I will hand out your job applications." Just kidding, I know you all want to be heroes and go to the hero course. And now everybody started showing off their quirks, but some of the kids picked up the papers because they had absolutely duty crap quirks. And then after, please don't come in, like I don't know what it is. And then after that, Bucky was like, "Damn right, Teach. Me and Deku are the only ones who even have a chance of becoming the top 10 heroes. All of you will become sidekicks to C-listers at best." And they're like, "Oh, you want to fight, Katsuki?" And they're just getting on him. And then he was like, "Yeah, whatever." And then the teacher was like, "All right, calm down, class." And then they all went their separate ways. Now, Deku, at this point, Deku has about 5 slots instead of 3 now in middle school. So, he looks at his feet and says, "Launch away." And when he does that, he flies through the air. And he like went on the windowsill, jumped off, then said fly away, and he just started launching. And then when he was gonna hit the ground that was like next to a bridge, he said soft landing, and he landed softly. Now he stood up, brushing the dirt off himself, and then he walked under the bridge. But when he walked under there, a Sludge villain came up behind him and tried attacking him. And the Sludge villain went, "I need a meat suit, and that's gonna be you." And then Deku was like, "What?" And then he screamed, "Stop," which made the Sludge villain stop in its place. And I'm gonna say now it's up to 30 seconds instead of preschool 10 seconds. So the Sludge villain is stuck there for 30 seconds. And then eventually when he breaks out, he's like, "Damn you!" And then Deku's like, "Oh no!" And then he says, "Launch away." But it doesn't. And then he launches the Sludge villain away. But the Sludge villain knows he's being chased by All Might, so he doesn't have time to sit there and moan and cry about being launched away. So he regains all his body parts. He regains all his body parts and goes. And then tries to attack again. But then Deku was like, "Fine, I think I'm going to have to do it." Now, I'm going to say this move costs 2 of the points. And he has 2 remaining. So this move costs 2 slots. And he only has 1 slot left. So it'll overdo it. So it'll overdo his power level by 1. Now, after his power is overdone, I took this move inspiration from Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen, the same one as Inumaki. And when it took inspiration from the move called Hollow Purple, which is like an infinite ball of destruction. But Deku says tear, or he says like I don't know, I guess he just says destroy or something, and it like destroys the villain. It like mismatches his body parts and like flips him upside down and just flaps him on the ground. And then after that, Deku's on the ground. He's just like and then All Might comes up, "I am here," and then it's like, "What happened?" And then with the last words Deku can spit out of his mouth before he goes like tone deaf is "I used my quirk on the villain. I defeated him, but I won't be able to talk because I overused my quirk." But that was enough for smart All Might to understand the situation, clean up the villain, sign Deku's notebook and all that, fly away. This time Deku had no need to grab onto All Might's leg because he already knew he was about to be a lit hero once he practiced more. Now after this, I'm gonna say when All Might's thing ran out, Um, uh, he ran out on the rooftop and he did all his normal hero business, and then um. And then, as Deku was walking home, he heard an explosion, so he went to investigate. And when he was there, he saw Katsuki Bakugo stuck inside of the village, inside of the Sludge Villain, and the heroes were complaining about not having the right quirk to deal with this. So they were just whining instead of doing something. So Katsuki was like about to die, and Deku was like, "I'm not gonna let that happen." And he only regained one of his 5 slots, so he only had 1 slot left to use. So he says, "Launch away," or "Blast away." Yeah, blast away. And then he launches over the crowd into like the place where the Sludge Villain is. And then he rushes to the Sludge Villain, and the Sludge Villain's like, "You brat again." That's it. And then he did like the swipe attack, but then Deku was like, and then Deku did the same move that he did before, which was actually no, he does a different move that takes up 3 slots, because the misdirect move didn't take any effect on him. Well, it took effect on him, but didn't do as much as Deku wanted to. So when Deku saw like it didn't do as much effect, he went past his limits. He went to a very high level of his quirk, and then he said evaporate, and he turned the sludge monster who is basically 99%, 98% made out of liquid, and evaporated him to the point where it was only like dried out eyes on the ground, which defeated the villain. But Deku was on the ground. He was just not having it. And then he had help come, and then he had help standing up. He sat there for like 2 hours before regaining his strength to stand up and walk home. But he texted his mom that he was just hanging out with some friends because he didn't want to worry his mom. And on his way home, instead of All Might running into him and telling him about how he wants him to become like all that, almost like he already gave it to Mirio. And I think this is a really cool idea. Instead of I bet y'all did not hear any of that. I swear to God. If you did not hear all of that when I re-record this, I swear to God, I'm just gonna like. I'm sorry if nothing gets uploaded today. If you guys did not hear that, sorry. So, yeah, but instead of All Might pulling up on him, telling him what a great job he did, and giving him the quirk, All Might already gave it to Mirio. And someone who pulls up is, what's his name? Eraserhead pulls up, or Aizawa pulls up. And then since they both have quirks that are like more support quirks, Aizawa's like, I might take this kid under my wing. So Aizawa pulls up and is like, "Hey kid, do you want to become my student? I'll train you. I'm in Teacher UA. I'm a pro hero, and I can teach you the ways of my fighting combat with this scarf." And he's like, "What do you mean that scarf? It can't be that strong." And then he's like, "You want to find out?" And then he fought Deku. He won immediately. Like it wasn't even a fight at that point. And then Deku was like, "All right, fine. We can." I do want to become your student. And then the rest is for part 2. Alright, bye guys. Love you. Have a great rest of your day or whatever time period you're in.